Hey everybody, welcome to Nerds Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Chris.
Today we're going to be discussing our E3 predictions for this year's E3. Basically what we think will be there, what won't show up, maybe some crazy wild predictions of things that might be happening in our wildest dreams. So please watch along, leave some comments below, let us know what your thoughts, if you agree or disagree, or what your predictions are. And we'll get right to it. So Chris, I think there was a bunch of conferences happening this year, as they do every year. We've got Nintendo with a major conference on Tuesday. Yep. We've got Xbox that is a conference. I think there's still a Monday, or is it Sunday?
I believe it's Sunday.
Sunday. And then we have EA. We know Ubisoft and Square Enix are definitely on Monday.
Yeah.
EA, I think, is on the Saturday or the Sunday, depending. I'll have to confirm that. Yeah. But oddly enough, Sony is not showing up this year.
Yeah, they decided this year it wasn't worth their while, in their opinion, to go, and that they were going to try something new this year. So we'll see how that works out for them.
Yeah, I heard that, I guess, if you don't have much to talk about, don't show up at all. And I know that as far as first-party titles, they had 2 or 3 that we were announced for the last 2 E3s. We got Last of Us 2, we have Ghost of Tsushima, and I think there's one other game that's slipping my mind right now. People on the internet are probably screaming at me. But obviously, I guess they're not planning on releasing it this year, or if they were, you think that they would have some sort of an announcement. So I guess they figured, why have an E3 conference if we only have, 1 or 2 games to talk about?
Yeah, I think they're going to go and just stream, certain trailers and have little private kind of press conferences. Yeah. Instead of making it a big deal and spending all that money, just doing it, spending it other ways, I guess.
Yep. So do you think that they're going to do another State of Play like they did I think they did one last month? Do you think they're going to be hosting another one of those during E3? Do you think Nintendo always does their directs during E3? Do you think they're going to do that? Now, I'm pretty sure they said we're not doing anything around E3, but what's your thoughts? Do you think they might surprise drop something like that?
I think they're going to hold off and just stick to their word for now.
Okay.
And just wait.
Perfect. So with the fact that Sony is essentially bowing out, I mean, Nintendo and Xbox are the only first-party console makers that are going to be there. And, if you believe in the console wars, it's going to be their E3 to lose. So what's your thoughts on that perspective?
So I think this year E3 has created a big opportunity for both Microsoft and Nintendo, as well as other developers, to try and take a stranglehold. Sony's always been kind of top. They have their exclusives that they've worked out with different developers. So this year, with Sony not making it, and even EA has announced that they're kind of not doing the traditional press conference, they're kind of doing their own streaming and several other things like that. I think they're going to take this opportunity to announce their next gen console, either Xbox or Nintendo. But my main guess is Xbox might try and do that.
Okay, so Xbox, your first prediction is Microsoft will announce the next Xbox at this year's E3 with a release date of potentially being this year or next year?
I would say 2020, next year. Okay. Maybe mid to late
2020. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Now, I know that they just dropped their Xbox One S all digital edition. Yeah. So, diskless drive. Do you think that this will stifle sales at all with the announcement of this new Xbox on the horizon?
I think right now they're kind of on the bottom end of console sales. Mm-hmm. Yep. And right now they have nothing to lose.
Yeah,
I would say absolutely. Be the first ones out there, get everyone excited, know that you were the first one. Everyone's talking Microsoft, what's it going to be, what are the specs, that kind of thing. Get your name back up there as a topic and talking point.
Okay, so if we're going to start with Xbox, and I will give my first prediction. I think that Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest, will surprise drop at E3. So we know that they announced this, I think, again, it was 2 E3s ago where they talked about it. They showed a little bit, I think, a title, not really much gameplay, as it was early in development. I think we all know it's coming. I think that they will announce it, show a trailer, and then be like, it's out today. And it'll be available to download immediately on Xbox Live.
Wow.
And Xbox Game Pass. I think it'll be one of their surprises to get people really excited because it's a big game, and it's one because it is a Xbox Live digital title. They don't need to worry about it being in retail stores, so they can literally do it's out right now. The announcement's out. All the affiliates are going to be streaming it, talking about it, and bam, get news right away from E3. So I think that's my number one.
That would be very impressive. I mean, to keep something that quiet would be quite the feat. I would be very impressed with Xbox and Microsoft if they did that.
They haven't had much news up till now, other than, like I said, the initial announcement, the title. There hasn't been any gameplay, anything new that was announced that I'm aware of. I've been keeping my eye on it. I really like the original game. I don't know if you've had a chance to play it at all.
Not really. I've
really?
seen bits and pieces of it, but I haven't actually got my hands on it to play.
Yeah, so since this is essentially a first-party title for Microsoft, I think that it will definitely garner some surprise for the media. And I think the last couple of years we've had, even if it was indie games on Nintendo Switch or games on PlayStation, I think last E3 they also did it's available right now when they're announcing random indie titles.
Yeah.
So I think this one, although it is first party, I think that they could wow everyone with a strong it's out right now. Now whether they open with that or end with that, either way, I think it's gonna be a nice surprise. I'll definitely be shocked if it didn't happen, but at the same time, it's a prediction. So
yeah, I think that would be a good move for them, and especially if they can really take advantage of this E3 and really try and take a stranglehold back and gain some ground.
Absolutely. So that's my first prediction. Do you have another prediction for Xbox?
I do. Mine's not as exciting as yours, but I feel with the new release of the Detective Pikachu movie and all the success, the cards that they're coming out with, I have a feeling Nintendo might announce a sequel to that game.
Nintendo.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Nintendo might send out, they're going to ride the wave that they're having right now for the success of the movie. The cards have been a good seller lately. So.
Okay. So a sequel to that game. Okay, so let me just go through. Sorry, just give me a second here. So Nintendo. Okay, let me just finish my Xbox. Do you have any other Xbox predictions specifically?
Well, I do think with it being the 35th anniversary of the original Ghostbusters movie, and I believe it's the 10th year anniversary of the video game that they had.
Okay.
I think they're going to remaster it
Nice.
and have it as an exclusive for Xbox.
Interesting. So remaster, not new game, not sequel.
No. I think they're going to remaster the original one with the original voices. It was released in June of 2009.
Okay.
So it was the 25th anniversary of the Ghostbusters movie, and now it's the 35th anniversary. So I think they're going to try and ride that and also have some success with the remaster.
That's awesome. So I'm pretty sure you're a Ghostbusters fan.
I am. I'm a ghost head.
So that's for you. That's a big deal.
Personally, that's what I'm really hoping for.
No,
that
absolutely.
to happen.
That's a prediction, right? So we're hoping for that. Okay, so I've just got a couple more here for Xbox, and then we'll move on to Nintendo.
Sounds good.
So I believe Xbox Live. So Xbox always does a little thing where they talk about the console, they talk about, obviously first-party games and third-party games, but they also sometimes do a little bit where they discuss their services, or in this case, Xbox Live, or if they have a new feature, Game Pass, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to touch base in Xbox Live specifically, and I think this will happen in the Xbox conference, the fact that they're launching Xbox Live on Switch. I don't know if you've heard the details on that, but there was some talk about that a few months back with Microsoft with plans to release Xbox Live on Nintendo Switch. Yeah. And then shortly after, at the Nintendo Indie Direct, we found out that Cuphead was going to be coming to Switch, which was an Xbox exclusive title.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, so if they're getting these kind of games, Xbox branded games on, it's I guess second party, it's not made by Microsoft, but it's exclusive on Microsoft. Yeah. If they're getting these games on Nintendo Switch's platform, then maybe these rumors are true in regards to Xbox Live. So I think that if that is the case, that Xbox will make that statement that we're partnering with Nintendo. Again, another jab at Sony. We're taking strong strides with Nintendo. We're going to offer our Xbox Live service on Nintendo Switch, and whether that means that you can play now Xbox Live games on your Switch on the go, as long as you have an Xbox Live membership. I think that would be a tremendous step for them, because now if people want to buy Xbox games, they still technically can. The money still goes to Microsoft. I guess a cut would go to Nintendo for having it on the platform, I presume. I don't know how the deal would work. Yeah. But I think that they would need something like that just to bolster, again, their presentation. I miss the fact that they have acquired a bunch of companies over the last year. I still think that this is big enough news that would actually make them stand out at E3. And I think that would be actually a great sticking point for them to have at their conference.
Now, do you think with that service, they'll be able to play Xbox players versus Nintendo Switch players online multiplayer?
I think that is the step of why they're offering
like
Xbox
Fortnite
Live.
and those kind of games that everyone wants to play against each other would just build that.
Absolutely. I mean, we already have certain games like Fortnite and whatnot having crossplay between PC and mobile and Switch and whatnot. So, I mean, third parties can do it. Microsoft has the cloud platform. They have the servers. They have Azure. And we just recently heard in the news that Sony and Microsoft are partnering up for a cloud service and cloud platform.
Yes.
So this would be a great way to be like, well, Nintendo, you have your own hardware, you have your own first party, we're not taking that away from you, but leverage our cloud stuff, make your internet service better, because let's be honest, aside from the nostalgia and their classic games, their network is basically just a means to connect with another player online. There's really no interface, there's no chat, there's no party system. So I think this Xbox Live could really offer some new features and some benefits for Nintendo players, and then maybe open the doors for the players that are like, oh, I like this game, you know what, it's not running as well on Switch, or there might be limited playability on Switch, you know what, I already own it, let's go get an Xbox and play it on Xbox and see what it's about.
Plus it'll help for people that travel. You can play it on the Xbox if you're at home. If you're on the road, you can bring your Switch with you, make it easy, hook up to the internet wherever you are, and continue playing your game that you are into at the moment. So.
Absolutely. So I think that is a possibility.
And that would help for both companies as well. It's a win-win for both companies.
Absolutely. So I think that is a strong prediction for myself. The third... So 2 more predictions. So next one is, I think there will be a new Banjo-Kazooie game announced. Okay, I think that will be available on Xbox and Switch via Xbox Live. So after the Xbox Live details and talking about the service on Switch, they come out with a trailer or whatever. Banjo comes out, Banjo-Kazooie, surprise new game, whatever it is. Whether it's a remaster of the originals or a brand new game, I'm not sure. I know that they didn't do well with Nuts and Bolts, which was the Microsoft-owned new version. They could do a remaster, but I think they'll just go all brand new, just like, Crash did a remaster, but I think that they'll go brand new Banjo-Kazooie game. It'll be available on Xbox and Switch via the Xbox Live feature, and I think that's going to lead into a possibility of an announcement on the Nintendo conference, but we'll wait for that. So I think that's a possibility. What's your thoughts on that?
I like it. So I think it could be a reality. I think it would be great for Microsoft to open up with that. They have this new service that they're partnering.
Okay.
Show some trailers of the games that are being multi-platform, and then have Nintendo continue it on.
Absolutely.
It would be quite the conference for both companies, and I think it could be a reality. I'd like to see it happen at least.
I do. Absolutely, for sure. My last one for Xbox is in regards to Square. So with third parties like Square and like Activision and whatnot, they generally showcase their games at a Sony or at Microsoft conference. And the fact that Sony isn't there makes it very easy. Any of these third parties who want to promote their games are going to do it on Microsoft stage. So I think that I don't know how well you are aware of this, but Square Enix is and has been developing a top secret Avengers game. I don't know if
I did hear that.
You heard about that?
I did hear about that.
And this has been known for years. I want to say 3 to 4 years now. And there hasn't been a trailer. There hasn't been a peep. There's been nothing. In fact, last E3, I specifically looked for it and saw nothing. I was shocked that, when the Nintendo Switch Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was dropped at the games conference this past year in December, I was like, oh, is this it? I'm like, no, this is for Switch. And it was Ultimate Alliance. So I was like, okay, where is the Square Avengers game? And then when they had the Sony's State of Play earlier this year, the first one they released, it started off with Tony Stark. I was like, oh my gosh, is this the game? Is this the game? And then it turned out to be a PlayStation VR game for Iron Man, which also looked pretty good. So I was like, again, where's that Square game? So I think this is the time. They got to come out. They got to show it. They got to announce it. Don't know if it's going to have a date. I don't think it's coming this year. Who knows? It's been in development for a while, but I just don't see Square being the kind of company that would announce it and release it within the same year. If you look at Final Fantasy, you look at a lot of their titles, they announce it 3-4 years in advance before it actually comes out. But I think that this is the year. So I think at Microsoft's conference, Square's Avenger game debuts, and here's my prediction: it's going to come first to Xbox. So it's not going to be exclusive to Xbox. It'll come to Sony, it'll come to whatever. But I think it'll be first on Xbox, and so they're going to debut it there. And and that again will be a great win for Microsoft, especially with all the crazy attention that Endgame is getting and how the MCU is going. This will be the game. This is the perfect time to drop it. The Endgame is done. Everyone's excited. Spider-Man's coming around the corner. Let's drop the game, even if it's a title, a trailer, some gameplay, and bam, it's coming first.
Keep people
Xbox.
Excited, get it going, ride the wave. It would be fantastic to see. And like you said, you keep seeing these glimpses of other Marvel games, and you're like, is this it? Is this? No, not yet.
Absolutely.
Speaking, you brought up Final Fantasy. Do you think they're going to remaster another one of their games or come out with a new one? I've heard whispers of it. I'm not sure.
Of a new Final Fantasy or a new remaster? Because they've already announced, what was it, 7, 8, 9...
all remastered.
12 and 13, or I can't remember. One of them is an online game. I'm not a big Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah.
But I know that on the Switch, I think all of them, with the exception of like 2, are coming to Switch already and remastered. And I know that they've been really working hard on Final Fantasy 7, which they showcased on the State of Play this last month.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll announce a new one. I mean, I think their hands are full in regards
remakes.
to what's going on. I do have a prediction for Square Enix, and I'll get to that when we discuss the third parties. But I don't think it'll be Final Fantasy. I think they have another game up their sleeve.
Excellent.
Okay, so let's move to... Well, do you have anything else for Microsoft before we move to Nintendo?
Nope.
That's pretty much it.
That's it.
Okay. Nintendo's conference and their predictions. I have 5 myself. How many do you have?
I have 2.
Okay, so why don't I start then?
Sounds good.
It kind of goes...
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, kind of playing off of the new Banjo game available on Xbox and Switch, my prediction for Nintendo is they're going to announce a new Smash DLC character for Smash Brothers, for sure. I think that's in the bag. They promised 5 new characters over the span of 1 year, from February of this year to February next year. So based on the track record of releasing a character every 2 months, give or take, this would be the time not only to announce, but potentially drop the character for release.
Yeah.
So they'll definitely announce a character, and it will release, my prediction is in June, so end of the month. Whether it's... I don't think it'll release available now at E3. They usually like to promote it first.
Yeah.
But I would say by the end of the month, end of June, it's available June 28th or whatever the case is. I don't have a prediction as to what character that is, but you know what? Just to make it spicier, I will predict that it might be Banjo-Kazooie if Microsoft's thing comes true and the Banjo new game is alive and it's going to be available on the Switch. That's the perfect in for them to announce a Banjo-Kazooie.
It would make sense, really. They announced it, play it up.
Why not?
Yeah, I agree.
So that's my first prediction there. So you can go ahead with yours.
So I touched on it a little bit before, but I think with the success of the Detective Pikachu movie, I think they're going to release a sequel to the game. The cards are going well. The movie's going well. The first game, many people enjoyed it. It's a quick Pokemon game. I think they're going to try and continue off with that and make a second version of it.
Okay, and that'll be for Switch, obviously, right?
That will be for Switch, yeah. Okay. So I think they're gonna, move away from all the DS games and move only to Switch, since it's very similar. You can handheld, you can play it many different ways.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm just trying to see which one I want to talk about next. So this one's pretty much a given. So Retro is a company that does a lot of games for Nintendo. Well, they're not owned by Nintendo. They do a lot of work for Nintendo specifically. I don't believe that they're owned by Nintendo. I could be wrong about that. Internet, please correct me in the comments below. But I don't believe they're physically owned by Nintendo, but they do a lot of work for them specifically. So Retro, I believe, has done the last few Donkey Kong games, and they've done all the Metroid Prime games in the past. They just announced that the new Metroid Prime 4 production has stopped and is now shifted over to Retro, and they're going to be handling 4. So for the past 5 years, what have they been doing? I think now they're going to announce what game that was. There was rumors about it being a Star Fox racing game, like a Mario Kart game, but for Star Fox characters.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be. I just know that they've got to release their game. They got to reveal it. They got to have an announcement. Here's a title. Here's a trailer. Here's some gameplay. And the Retro game will be coming out, I would assume, this year, if they are now working on the new Metroid to be released in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So I think that they will reveal it, whatever that game happens to be at this E3. That's my next big prediction. And obviously, it's not going to be Metroid. It'll be something else.
Yeah. I do like the Mario Kart version of Star Fox. Yeah. I mean, it's a classic character. Those games have always been entertaining. I think it would be something a little bit different, which is what they need, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. So my next one is continuing with Pokemon, funny enough. The next one, obviously, they're going to release Sword and Shield. It's already been announced.
Yep.
This will be the first one on the Switch, as all the others have been either on Game Boy or the DS in the past. So I predict that this one's going to have a lot more options. Multiplayer right from not online. They'll obviously continue the co-op online play. I'm interested to see, I don't know if you know about it, but the Pokebank. So there's an online storage for all the Pokemon.
For each generation, right?
Yeah, so you can transfer. So it only goes to the newest. You can't bring it back to old games, but you can bring all the old game Pokemon to your newest game. So I'm interested to see if they'll continue that as it's an extra revenue source for them.
And that's not on the Switch as of yet.
No.
It's on the 3DS.
It's on the 3DS, so they do have that feature, but they haven't announced anything. They haven't announced too much. They've shown a few trailers of the starter Pokemon and a few little game clips. I think this is where they're going to show more in depth. They're going to have a big feature on it. I think Nintendo's going to try and make this their crown for the conference, I believe.
Okay.
And try and show, tell all the new features, what they're going to include, some more gameplay, and I walk that through and try and get people pumped up to get the pre-sales going.
Okay, I think that's pretty spot on, actually. I mean, Pokemon is a big IP for them, so it would make sense to give it some time at the E3 showcase. The last few years, I think Nintendo's always focused, while they did talk about other games, they focused specifically on one game. And 2 years ago, it was Zelda, and then it was Mario, and then it was last year was Smash Brothers. So, 3 years ago. Got my years messed up there. So this year, a lot of people thought, okay, it's going to be Mario Maker, but they just did a direct a couple weeks ago specifically on Mario Maker to get all that out of the open. We know it's releasing end of June. So it doesn't make sense for that to be their showcase game at E3. And we know that they have other titles coming. Luigi's Mansion 3 is coming. There is a new Fire Emblem game coming. There is Animal Crossing game that they announced earlier during the Smash Brothers. When they announced Isabelle is coming to Smash Brothers, they talked about a new Animal Crossing game that was also in the works. So if that Animal Crossing game was to come out end of this year, then I think they're going to focus a lot on that. Yeah. So absolutely, I think that the Pokemon prediction is pretty solid. And having Pokemon Bank, I think, would tease a lot of the fans of Pokemon in being able to get all of the work that they've done over the generations into the newest game. So
exactly. And, it's extra money for Nintendo.
Oh, absolutely.
Why not? Right?
Everyone loves the money, right?
Exactly.
So my third prediction is going to come around Luigi's Mansion. So obviously, it's silly to predict that they're going to have it there. It's a given. I think specifically they're going to have the release date announced.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be end of this year, probably around October, Halloween time. It's a given. We know Pokemon's coming in November, and I know Link's Awakening they talked about is coming end of this year. So whether that's a December game or is that a September game, it's coming. So we know that they have big titles throughout the year, and Animal Crossing could fit in anywhere, technically.
Yeah.
So I think Luigi's Mansion will have the release date announced, but more specifically, my prediction is a co-op mode. So I don't know if you've played the previous Luigi's Mansions.
I have, yeah.
Solo game, great game, loved it.
Yeah.
It's no Ghostbusters, but it was my toned down version, the version that I can handle. So I loved it. I think that this will kind of be true to form, very similar to the GameCube style, giant mansion to explore. But I think that they will offer a co-op mode because with the Switch and the two controllers allowing a little kid to join in.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to do it very special this year. So this is where my prediction gets wild. So in the previous game called Dark Moon on the 3DS, they had a two-player mode where you'd have what's been known on the internet as Gooigi. So it's a green photoplasmic version of Luigi that comes on as the other player is playing, and that's you guys play together to conquer specific. I think it's like a challenge mode or specific rooms. And so I'm like, I don't think that that's what they're gonna do. They have a character that they've showcased on the Wii U that's moved its way onto the Switch right now. It has its own game. It's a character that would need a flashlight, similar to Luigi. It would need to not be able to jump, because you don't jump in this game.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of you guys know who I'm talking about, Captain Toad. I think he will be your second player. Tell me this is not the best prediction right now. He doesn't jump. He wears a backpack, so you can literally remove the backpack, put on the vacuum.
Yeah.
He's got the headlamp light. I think it works perfectly.
Yeah.
He gets scared. He's got to discover stuff, puzzles, and stuff. I think it's a perfect fit. A great way to have a second player in there. And again, it doesn't affect the story, because if you're just playing solo, it's still Luigi.
Exactly.
So that's my crazy prediction. If it's true, yeah, you can thank the internet, but I think that is one of my dream options. But we'll see. We'll see how it happens.
He checks all the boxes.
It does.
So the flashlight, the backpack.
Doesn't jump.
It doesn't jump.
Yeah.
You know what? That might not be so crazy.
And there are toads in Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why could Captain Toad not be the one that's helping, find toads or find Toadette or
exactly
whoever?
As a secondary character,
absolutely,
companion.
Yeah. So I think that would be a great surprise.
That would be.
Okay. Did you have another Nintendo prediction, or should I continue?
No, continue on.
Okay. So there's been rumors about new Nintendo Switch models going through. Two specifically, one being a mini version, a toned down, portable only version that's a lower price point for kids, a la the 3DS. It would not have detachable Joy-Cons. I believe the rumor is that it's affixed to the system. So it's literally, you charge it up, you go, it's like your Game Boy, you take it on the go. Yeah. Whether it docks or not, nobody knows, but that's one solid rumor. The other rumor is that there is a secondary Switch that we're going to call it the Switch Pro, and that it's going to be more powerful, whether it's better battery life, a better graphics card,
yeah.
what the case is, that's in the works. So I think that a new Switch model will be officially announced with a release date. I think it will be the Mini, because I think it's too soon. As much as we want it, I mean, I'd love to get an upgrade on my Switch.
Yeah.
I think it's too soon to talk about a new powerful version, because then you talk about, well, will the games work on the old version and the new version? I mean, this isn't Xbox and Xbox One X. It's, it's Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't usually do that big of a change.
Yeah.
And when they have in the past with, for example, the new Nintendo 3DS or the DSi, there were a few titles that were exclusive that would not work on the old hardware. So I think it's too soon with the success of the Switch to have that split. So I think they're going to announce the Mini now, increase sales, and potentially next year decide a new Pro. At that point, it's been out for 3 years. It's more, okay, people are more willing to upgrade at that point if they want to, or hold out for the Switch 2 in another 2 years or so.
Yeah.
So I think that's the plan. They'll announce a new Switch model. It'll be a Mini, and it'll be dated and announced for this year.
I think it'd be good, especially with them pretty much retiring 3DS and that whole system. They'll need something more handheld, more
Pokemon's coming
compatible
out
for kids.
Pokemon's coming out. You want to trade?
Right. Those long drives, you want to keep the kids busy. You don't want to give them that big Switch all the time or have them walk
better
around
battery
with
life.
it.
And because the Joy-Cons are detachable, it can be a smaller form factor because you're not plugging in additional Joy-Cons.
Exactly.
So the benefit there is you can get more battery life. And let's be honest, as a parent myself, and you're a parent, we don't want to buy a full-blown $400 Nintendo Switch and give it to your kid.
Let them walk around with it and travel with it.
So if this is half the price, then it's a little bit more, okay, you know what, I've given you a DS or a 3DS. This is the next logical step.
Exactly. And they could still play their Switch games that they play at home or whatnot on the original. So yeah, it would work for everyone.
Okay.
As a parent, I'd buy that for me.
Absolutely. Nintendo, you heard it here.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last one is kind of... so I did a Mario Maker Direct reaction. Some of you may have watched already. And I had some predictions for that, specifically multiplayer, which was announced. So I was right about that.
Right.
The second of which was them announcing a stylus. So this is my prediction here. They're going to announce it at E3. A stylus specifically for the Nintendo Switch. For use with Mario Maker, because designing the levels with your finger may not be as intuitive, especially if you're trying to get pixel perfect, where you want to place the items.
Yeah.
So I think announcing a stylus as an optional accessory would be great. It's an extra revenue. Like I said, you can still do it with your finger on the go, but I think it's a great option for those who are really into the level creation to have that as an extra feature. So I think that's just my last kind of throwaway prediction that'll be announced at E3.
I would love that. I was really hoping that they were going to announce that during the live feature, but you had one of your predictions right. I was hoping you got both, but it would be useful, really useful for the making the different levels.
Absolutely. So now we're going to be covering the third-party conferences. That's the likes of EA, Ubisoft, Square Enix. We're not going to go into anything specific as far as like just covering EA. We're just going to go launch as predictions for whichever one we like. And again, feel free to leave some comments below and agree with us, disagree with us. We'd like to hear your thoughts. So, okay, I'll go first with EA. I got two specifically for EA that surround Star Wars. So I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So we all know that they announced Jedi Fallen Order. We all know it's coming this year. So it's a prediction to say that they're going to show it. We know it's going to show it. But I think the prediction is that it's going to be a blowout. Like it's going to be, 40% of their showing is going to be this game because they need it to sell. We heard the fact that Disney was thinking of yanking the license from them and now letting other developers develop, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
I think it's great to give other people the ability to do great things with the license. But I think all of their eggs are in one basket for this particular title. They need this game to sell well. So I think they're going to showcase it. We had the trailer at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to go into another trailer, actual gameplay, showcase the game. Whether they're going to have commentary from the developers, I don't know. But I think it's going to be a blowout. So it's not really a crazy prediction, but I think that's definitely going to be a focus. As well as, here's the other prediction, is a brand new Star Wars game announcement. So they've done Battlefront 1.
Yeah.
They've done Battlefront 2. They canceled Amy Hennig's project, which then they moved over to a team in Vancouver, which then got canceled again. And I was so upset with that. I mean, it was a single-player game. It looked from behind the scenes what we've seen phenomenal, and then all that art, all those assets seem to be gone. They're just going to give up on it. So I think they're going to announce a new Star Wars game, whether it's Battlefront 3 or a brand new IP, I don't know, but I think that they're going to announce at least one more because let's be honest, if you had the license for almost 6 years and only released 3 games, it's pretty sad.
It is, and they really need to bounce back after Battlefront 2 and all that crate loot box fiasco and the lack of sales, and I mean, soon after launch, that thing was on sale in no time. So
well, even now, I think I checked Xbox Live during a sale. It's like $9 now. You can get the game.
Oh, yeah.
Now, to be honest, for some of you guys who held out on it, and I missed all of the bad press that they got, the game is completely different now from the perspective as they fix a lot of issues. There's no more loot boxes.
Yeah.
The only loot boxes are cosmetic items, so it does not affect your game at all. Everything else can be earned with in-game currency. There are a lot of new modes that dropped, some new Clone Wars content, a new one-on-one Jedi Duels mode. So there's a lot of new content. I urge you, especially for $9, to check it out. If you are a Star Wars fan, it is still a great game, especially for $9. Like I said, I enjoy it. I don't play it as much as I used to, but I still think it's a great game in the single-player story mode. I enjoyed it.
I wanted that in Battlefront 1. I was so happy they announced it in Battlefront 2. I was going to pre-order it, and then I heard all the reviews and the issues that they were having. I ended up getting it on sale. I play it. My son plays it. We both love it. I love the single player mode.
Yep.
So I'm really hoping they at least announce. I know the new game's coming, but they announced another one.
Either a Battlefront 3 or something else.
Something they need to really
and do it right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, that's all I have for EA. So I mean, just a couple Star Wars stuff.
So for EA, I think Star Wars will be the main focus. Yep. I think they're going to touch on Anthem a little bit.
Okay.
They really pumped it up. They got great. Had a lot of hype during the past E3s. It was like the game to be the next game. You know, everyone was on Destiny, and they're like, "This is going to kill Destiny. This is going to be the next kind of."
And then it didn't.
And then it didn't. So I know you and I both played it.
Yep. I enjoyed it.
I did
a story.
So I completed everything. I started getting legendary weapons, and now it's just very repetitive. Yep. They need to find something to change it up, and I think they might take this opportunity to announce that they have an expansion coming, kind of some new ideas, not just strongholds.
Do you think this new expansion will be paid, or do you think it'll be free based on how the sales have been going and to get people to buy the game? Do you think this will be a free?
If they're smart, it will be free to try and get the player base back.
Yep.
Try and get everyone back hyped about it, and then they can release the next one paid. I think it would be a smart move for them. I don't really hear anyone talking about it anymore. It was supposed to be the next big thing. I think they need to get back on it. They invested a lot in it. I know they've had some developers and writers and people kind of leave, so maybe some fresh eyes, some fresh start to it might back up.
Yeah, I felt a lot of the bad press around it was like issues with the game, from like bugginess to like pop-ins. Now, I personally, I don't own a PS4 Pro. I play on a standard PS4. I haven't experienced any of those issues other than the long load times, which I can attest to. There was some long load times, and there is the issue of doing a mission and having to go back to the what do they call it? The
front.
The city, I can't remember the name of it. It's been Tarsus.
Fort Tarsus.
So always having to go back there, and then, or even if you want to go and customize your Javelin, you still then from there have to go into the Fort Tarsus. So there's a lot of load times, and I think they released a patch sometime within the last
they sped it up now that you can go
straight to the next mission or whatever.
Yeah.
So they fixed some of that, but I mean, for me, I'm like, that was the only thing that I could attest to. Like, yeah, okay, that's true. There's a lot of load times, but I didn't have any issues with things not working or
they said it fried some PlayStations and stuff like that.
I guess
then they came out and announced that
that's not the case.
Didn't happen, but a lot of rumors started flying that it was frying PlayStations. I had a few issues where it would bug out on me halfway through a mission. I couldn't go to the next phase.
Okay,
but that was early on in the game, and then they patched that. So
they're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the stronghold, there was only one, or was there two?
They've announced they've thrown out a few strongholds. Okay. I think they have 4 now. I may be mistaken. Don't judge me. But
I'm sure you will.
I haven't played in a little while, but the last time I played, I keep reading little bits of a new stronghold or a new patch here and there. But nothing big that they need to do to get this game back.
Perfect. Okay, so Anthem. So we'll have some Anthem news.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna do some predictions here for Ubisoft, or Ubisoft, depending on how you pronounce the name. So I think they're gonna announce a new Nintendo collaboration. So they had a great, awesome game with Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I played it. I loved it. I haven't gotten their DLC yet. I plan to, but great game. Did a great job with the IP, and then they announced the Star Fox. Starship, I can't remember what it's called. The space game. I can't remember what it's called.
And they had those
the Toys to Life
toys
ship attachments and whatnot. So they did another collaboration. That one didn't sell as well. I mean, obviously, Twist of Life doesn't sell very well nowadays. But again, from what I've heard, I didn't play it. What I've heard is the Star Fox portions were good. The story was decent. You get to play with a bunch of characters. And again, they did a really good job with the IP. So I think they're going to have a new collaboration. And I think, and this is where it gets crazy, I think it's going to either be with Donkey Kong, a Donkey Kong game. So Retro's working on something else. It could be a Donkey Kong collaboration with one of their IPs, Rayman, something, who knows, in the jungle. Or, and don't kill me for this because it's one of my favorite IPs, but it could be Zelda. I mean, this is Ubisoft. They do great things. They do a lot of kids games. They do a lot of stuff, dancing games and Rabbids games and stuff. They do things for all ages.
Yeah.
They have their mature or 18 plus games. So I don't see why they can't do something. They did great with Mario plus Rabbids. They could do something with Link or with Zelda and do a collaboration somehow in some sort of medieval time theme or something. So I'm hoping that they do a new collaboration. That's my prediction. And I think it'll be either with Donkey Kong or Zelda. I don't think there's any other IP that they would let. Like Pikmin, I think it's just Nintendo's. I don't know what else would be left for them to touch at this point that is big enough. Metroid, we know there's a new game coming. I don't think that they'd give that away.
Yeah.
So at this point, I think it would have to either be Donkey Kong or Zelda. So that's my next big surprise prediction from Ubisoft.
Zelda would be huge. I mean, Nintendo's always held tight to that, and they've always announced great games for Zelda.
And they only do one, maximum two big console release per generation. Generally, it's one, but sometimes it's two.
Yeah.
Like in the case of Twilight Princess, it released for GameCube. It was a GameCube game, but it was a Wii released date title, and then they released Skyward Sword. And then the same thing with the Wii U. The main Zelda game released on Wii U and Switch.
Yeah.
So the Switch game we know is going to be worked on, whether it's Breath of the Wild 2 or a brand new one. We know it's going to be coming. Yeah. So I figured, you know what? Here's something else in the meantime. It's possible.
Yeah, could be.
The other one I have for Ubisoft is Beyond Good and Evil 2 release date. So they talked about this, again, 2 E3s ago.
Yeah.
They showed a trailer, looked beautiful. The scope seemed really, really big. I don't know how far along they are, but I mean, it's been a few years now. So I think that they will, at the very least, announce a release date. And if that's not this year, I think it'll be early next year.
Funny.
Yeah. So that's those two for Ubisoft.
Excellent. So with Bungie and Activision, I think they're going to tease their next expansion. They haven't really named it. They haven't given much information. I know they're having a new patch come out the beginning of next month.
Okay.
Beginning of June. So everyone's excited for that. But I think they're going to take this opportunity at E3 to really go into depth with their next expansion for the Destiny franchise.
Excellent. Okay, so that makes sense, and Destiny is doing really well. Do you think that they'll announce a Destiny 3 in the next couple of years, or do you think it'll just be expansions at this point?
I think they'll announce it. They won't announce it, I don't think, at this E3, no. But I think they'll announce it next year.
So you definitely think it's coming?
I do think so. Especially with, Bungie kind of going on their own again. I think they're really going to try and change Destiny 3 and really make it their own, kind of go back to D1, and I think they'll announce it in maybe E3, or I think there will be a Destiny 3.
Interesting. Okay, so that's pretty solid. Moving on to Square Enix for me. So as I mentioned, the Avengers game would be Xbox coming to Xbox first and be announced there. I think they'll do a blowout at their conference because, again, I don't think they're going to be doing. They might show more Final Fantasy VII, but other than that, I think this will be their focus.
Yeah, that's their main.
So their Avengers game, they're going to blow out. They're going to show some gameplay, talk about this and this. Obviously, the release date will be announced. And as much details as possible. So I think that for sure has to be this year. I mean, I don't know how much longer they can push that out without saying anything.
Do you think they'll manage to bring some of the cast or try and make it really big by bringing
voice actors? I wouldn't be surprised if that's why it's been so hush hush up until now.
Yeah.
I think that they may have spoke to Disney and said, let's do this right. I mean, they did Kingdom Hearts. So we know that they have a relationship with Disney. Bring in and say, we want these voice actors in.
We want to make it legit. We want to make it.
And make sure the voices are done right. So I think that'd be great. I think that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Especially after the success of Spider-Man on the PlayStation. And it was a great game, great story. I loved it from A to Z. It's just absolutely great game. And so, this is coming off the fact that this is another Marvel game. Even if it's not Sony exclusive, this is a Marvel game. So they've got Spider-Man now. This is the new golden standard for Marvel games.
Yeah.
They got to step up. So what way to do that by not getting the actual voice actors to do the game?
I think that'd be great. I think bringing up Spider-Man, there's a little, I don't know if you know this, but you can actually see the Ghostbuster firehouse.
No way.
In the Spider-Man game.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that was a little Easter egg they put
Like
in
with the
there.
logo, or just like the building?
Just the building.
Visually, it looks the same.
Yeah, so it's the actual building that they filmed in.
Nice.
Yeah, so the hook and ladder is in there.
That's
So
sweet.
there's, because it's, open world, so you can go around and you can find that location.
That's awesome. Okay, and we'll do one last prediction from me, and then we'll wrap it up here. All right, so my second prediction for Square Enix is in regards to them announcing Octopath Traveler 2. Sequel to the Nintendo Switch was a great success. Traditional RPG, excellent graphics. They have your 16-bit look, but with a 3D kind of effect. I don't know if you've seen it before. I'll have to show it to you.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful game. A great way to bring back the classic, but yet make it new.
Yeah.
So I think that based on the success of that, and the stories, in my opinion, were really great. I think there was only 2 that were so for me. But for the most part, I enjoyed every single one of the main 8 stories. So I think that they will definitely create a sequel, and whether they use the same characters or do brand new characters, I think that it's money for them. So
Yeah.
I think they will announce that Octopath Traveler 2 is in the works, and that'll be at E3.
Do you think they'll just announce that it's in the works, or they'll give a little trailer and release
I don't know
date?
if they'll have a trailer. I mean, the first one when they announced it was Project Octopath, because they didn't have a name for it, working title, and they showed like a kind of cinematic, kind of anime kind of style, showcasing it. And I think they tease a little bit of the graphics of the end game, but not too much. That's what kind of made everyone, really interested in it. So I don't know if they'll do that again. People know what it is now.
Yeah. But
I think it'll just be like Octopath Traveler 2 is working, coming soon, whatever. I don't think they'll do that much to it. Unless they started working on it initially when the first one was done, which I don't think they did. Square Enix is pretty slow.
Yeah.
So I think that, they'll announce it now, maybe blow it out next year, and then maybe release it in the next year or the year after.
Excellent.
So that's pretty much it for me for predictions for third party. Did you have any last minute comments or anything?
No, I'm just always interested to see the stuff that comes out of left field that developers have kept hush so well, and then you're like, what is this? You see a familiar logo or a little trailer on something that you played in the past. I'm looking forward to the new Gears game, like Gears of War 5.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just calling it Gears 5, but that's already been announced and should be out later this year.
Yeah, they're going to show it for sure.
Yeah,
they announced it last year.
We'll show some gameplay, I hope, for that. So that'll be nice to see. But they pretty much, there's no surprises on that.
I mean, I love surprises, and we generally get them. But I mean, I can't think of anything else other than what my predictions were about things. I mean, prove me wrong. I'd love to be surprised with some brand new IPs. But I guess we'll have to wait and see who's going to showcase it. If Sony was there, I think that'd be a little bit more to talk about, but the fact that they're not, I think it's going to be, like I said, Microsoft and Nintendo show, and we'll see where they go from there. Yeah. All right, everybody. So that's a wrap. That's our E3 predictions video. If you agree with us or disagree with us, we don't mind. Please leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you either way. We'd also like to hear your thoughts in regards to future topics here at Nerds Talk. Please feel free to send us an email or even leave it in a comment below. Let us know any other topics or games or comics or anything you'd like us to cover, and we'll be glad to do that for you on a future episode. Well, with that, thank you very much for your time, and as always, stay nerdy.